I love this year because it isn't one movie that just keeps sweeping. There's several movies that could win, or at least that was true up until like maybe a week ago. And I think there's just a lot of weird, great movies this year. So I think it's a great season. But yeah, let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Indie Magazine Podcast. Joe, we haven't had you on since late 2023.
Yeah, my last inaugural appearance, I was driving from LA to Utah, so it feels so nice to be in front of a mic, in front of a computer, stationary, good cellular connection. But yes, happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
By the fireplace. Now, you're no stranger to podcasts because you are on the Pop Apologist every so often.
I was wondering, I was like, did I sign in an exclusive with them? Is this okay to do? No, I'm kidding.
If you're into Taylor Swift and all the pop news, that is a great podcast.
Yes, I love this cross promotion with Pop Apologists.
Yeah, they don't need it from us, but we need it from them. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's talk about the Oscars. Now, I will say, and I think I brought this up on our last call, you helped me find a new appreciation for the Oscars and some of the Oscar movies. Growing up, we watched, it was me and my mom, and there was a little bit of hesitation for some of the Oscar movies that my family just didn't watch. Then moving in with you, I got more into some of the movies that are in the Oscars. And then your Oscar parties were some of my favorite things. So when did you first love the Oscars?
I don't know what year this was. I guess it would have been around 2000, 2001 is when I first fell in love with Oscars. But I mean, I was 8 or 9. And so those were movies like Aaron Brockovich or A Beautiful Mind and Gladiator, movies I was not seeing, but I had read about. And there were stars I recognized on the telecast, like Julia Roberts. And I was catching them in between like family scripture study or family dinner. I'd have them on or try to record them too, I think on a VHS, and then watch it when I got home from school the next day. But I loved watching the hosts like Billy Crystal, and I love the compilations of the clips of the nominees, and then seeing like the best actress reactions. So that's when I started really falling in love with it. But we definitely had some great Oscar parties in college where with my cousin Sherm, we'd create a custom menu centered around the nominees. One of my favorite dishes we served was, you better get some of this guacamole before it's gone, girl.
That was so good.
There was a really off-color one. Well, two of them. One was that we did a dessert called Peaches and Cream after Call Me By Your Name. And then the other was, I swear this was your idea. Maybe it wasn't, but it was a mocktail. And it was Sex on Dunkirk Beach.
Oh, that's so good. Let's talk about some of the biggest Oscar gaffes and upsets before we talk about this year's movies. What do you remember being so shocking? I know I watched some of them with you, but what were some of your favorite upsets?
Oh, I mean, some of the more shocking things have happened in more recent years, which is sad. And it really left me still scratching my head the next day, like the La La Land and Moonlight upset, the Will Smith slap. But I'm a person who, if it gets late enough at night, I will just watch Oscar speeches. And the speeches I love to watch are happier memories of the Oscars, like when Julia Roberts won for Aaron Brockovich, or like Olivia Colman's speech. That was a huge upset. Glenn Close had like won every precursor award, and then Olivia Colman upsets and wins and gives this like totally just endearing off the cuff speech, and it's such a good speech to watch. But that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about the Oscars, Tristan, is that Oscar season starts in August and it goes through the beginning of March. And the reason it starts in August is because that's when the Venice Film Festival is, and and it just like it kicks off with like a slew of festivals, a few every month. And so each of these festivals, you're looking at who's in, who's out, who's taking home these prizes, and what is it trending towards. So by the time where we are now on, effectively Oscars Eve, you kind of know who the front runners are and who's vying for it, which makes it kind of exciting to follow, almost like I imagine it's fun following your sport teams in the same way.
You don't have to pretend. We know you're a Chiefs fan.
Thank you.
You know, that is funny. I have friends that don't keep up with Oscar movies or the movie talk, and they always say, oh, it's so political, or it's all these stories, that it's not about the movies. But I will say, to your point, like the sports, it is about the stories of who's in the conversation, who's pissed somebody off, who's in the media, who do you hope wins, who's the underdog, and I think it's kind of fun.
Oh, 100%. It's a whole industry around Oscar campaigns. people
Yeah.
strategizing and figuring out what is the narrative for this film. And then there's also kind of these whisper campaigns against other movies. And so if your listeners have seen Conclave, that whole movie is about like, who should become the next pope? And there's whisper campaigns in that movie against certain contenders like, did you hear this about that he had committed this crime 5 years ago? And there's literally like a copy machine, showing grievances about certain candidates. And that happens with these films too. We've seen it this Oscar season with Amelia Perez imploding with her bad tweets, or finding out that the best actress nominee from I'm Still Here was in blackface in the 70s, I think, or hearing that someone in The Brutalist used AI in their performance. And then Timothée Chalamet, nothing negative on him. He's just given like an amazing PR run, hosting and being the musical guest for SNL, doing the Anderson Cooper 60 Minutes. Like, all of this is just a really fun campaign season to watch if you're nerdy and get into it.
Yeah, I know one of my friends mentioned it last night. He's like, this has been my most favorite season in years because there's not a ton of clear contenders all the way through, and there could be some upsets. So, with that, let's dig into the betting odds and at least what Vegas is putting their money on, right?
By the way, Tristan, I agree with your friend, and friend of the podcast, Ben Jones, has, I think, what is a more popular view of this year, which a lot of people feel like, oh, this year wasn't great for movies and it's just boring because there's no front runner. But I love this year because it isn't one movie that just keeps sweeping. There's several movies that could win, or at least that was true up until like maybe a week ago. And I think there's just a lot of weird, great movies this year. So I think it's a great season. But yeah, let's dive in.
One more note on that. It was hard to get people to send me predictions on time because they all wanted to wait. They're like, it's changing day to day. It's like,
Yeah,
true, I get it. What's the
yeah,
next upset? All right, Best Picture. The betting odds across most sites have Honora winning Best Picture.
yeah. And the reason for that is because honestly, up until I think 10 days ago, it was like it could be Honora, it could be Amelia Perez, it could be Conclave. And then obviously Amelia Perez scandal happened. But what really happened was the PGA, DGA, and Critics' Choice Awards were all like within 2 nights of each other, and Honora swept all three.
Yeah.
And it was the front runner when it was named Best Picture at the Cannes Film Festival, which is the first American film to win that award, I think, since Tree of Life in 2010, 2011. But then it kind of like lost its front runner status. But yeah, it is for sure the front runner now. I don't totally understand Oscar voting, but I know that they have a preferential ballot, and so that means that the number one film for people's like number one doesn't have to win. Maybe it could be the one that shows up the most in people's top five. And I think Honora is just a film like that. I don't know anyone who's like hated Honora. It's just a really crowd pleasing movie, I think.
Yeah, I was at dinner last night. A few people mentioned, oh, it wasn't for them, or it was a little stressful, or someone said there was just a lot of driving in cars. But the more you talked about it, you're like, oh, you still like
Yeah.
it, even if you had some issues with some of it. You're right. The voting bodies are at all these big award shows that we just had, and they all love it. So good
And
shot there.
I will admit my own bias. Honora is the movie of my life this year. I've seen it 5 times. I'm trying to host just about weekly screenings. It's more about monthly, but I eat that movie up. I love Sean Baker films, and this one is no exception. It's not what I thought it would be, and it's so much better. What did you think of Honora? I don't know if we've actually talked about
I
that.
don't think we have. It was so hyped up by some of my friends before I went to see it, and I was
Me.
late to see it. I was like 3 or 4 weeks in. It was great. It's within my top five, and it's moved around the last few weeks.
Yeah.
It stuck with me so well, which I can't say about a lot of these other
Mm.
movies. Like, I guess it is higher on my list, even if I had issues with certain things. So it must be maybe even top three. I think I Love Challengers, which is not even nominated on here, and that
Yeah.
might have been my picture of the year. But past that, I think for Best Picture, Honora, I liked Conclave when a lot of people didn't.
Yeah, Conclave wasn't for me. Did you only see Honora once?
I only saw it once. I need to rewatch.
Okay, I would encourage you to watch it 3 more times and then get back to me. You know what? Honor is supposed to win. People have said another upset could be a complete unknown because it's
Yeah.
also another movie that like, most people just like generally agree is a good film. It would be a bit strange for that movie winning to me because it's no one's favorite movie that I know, but I
Yeah.
can't also argue that like yeah, it is a good film. It's just people aren't upset about that movie. It's a crowd pleaser.
I know my dark horse like a month ago, I was like, Complete Unknown's going to win. It's going to be Bohemian Rhapsody. But then the more I got reading and
Forgot
looking
about that.
at, they've added so many more members to the Academy and the voting bodies and everything else. Perhaps it won't win.
That's crazy. I did not care for that. Yeah,
I haven't seen I'm Still Here. Did you see it yet?
I did not see that movie.
Okay.
If it was on a streamer and easily accessible, I would watch it. But I'm not paying to watch it. I'm sorry.
I know when it's $20 still.
I'm not paying to read subtitles.
Dune Part 2, there's a third one coming out. I don't think there's any way it wins.
I agree. And Quentin Tarantino really just gave a scathing critique of that movie when he said, I don't need to hear the word spiced pronounced so dramatically.
Oh my
And so,
gosh.
yeah, I was like, I guess I don't need to finish that movie.
You know, that's a long one. Conclave, we've already talked about. Wicked made its money at the box office, right? Box office award, it did its thing.
Wicked, not so wicked for this guy. That movie, I'm sorry, I will not be back for the sequel. I gave it my best shot and I still fell asleep the last half hour. That movie did not defy anything for me.
Did you like the musical?
I haven't seen it, but that movie wasn't happening for me.
The musical was better. This was so washed out and odd. I understand it's good for certain people, but yeah.
God bless. Not a John Chu person. God bless.
Let's move on to director. Sean Baker has to win, right?
I don't know, Tristan. I'm both torn in terms of predicting who will win this and who I want to win.
Okay.
In both scenarios, it's Sean Baker or Brady Corbett for The Brutalist for me. I'm a person who really enjoyed The Brutalist, and I
Yeah.
sat through the whole thing and thought it was really gripping. And it's just to me so much more of a like directory movie. But I wouldn't be mad at either of them winning, and I could see either of them winning. But I'm guessing Honora if the Academy just really loves it. But if they want to spread the love around, I guess Brady. I don't know what you think.
I mean, the betting odds are so like close. It's a
Really?
minus 125 favorite to a plus 100 underdog. So it's almost a 50-50 between them right now. I want Coralie to win.
I feel that I'm a person who has not seen The Substance and will not see The Substance because I recognize like my own tolerance.
Uh-huh.
But I watched the making of The Substance on YouTube. There's like half hour of how they just really like old school made this movie, and that woman has been through so much. I mean, Universal dropped her movie; they had to find a
Yeah.
new distributor. Just against all odds, like that would be so fun to see her win.
Yeah, I don't think it wins in a lot of other categories, but that's my dark horse hot take. I would love to see her win.
I wouldn't be upset about that. And to be honest, I wouldn't be upset about James Mangold winning either. That man just makes really
Yeah.
good movies. Ford versus Ferrari. Has anyone seen that movie with their
Love
dad?
it.
So the only person I wouldn't want to see win this award is Mr. Emilia Perez. And that's what I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, let's skip that this year. Jacques. Did you finish Amelia Perez?
Honey, I didn't even start Emilia Perez. I was like, I guess I'll see it because it's on Netflix. And then the whole scandal imploded. And I said, thank you, God. I can cross that movie off my list.
Yeah, it took me days of splitting it up. I
Really?
think I watched it in 4 different sittings because I was like,
Oh
I
my
just can't keep
gosh.
going. And it was
Yeah.
rough. I didn't love the ending. It feels like a Weinstein Oscar campaign of like, why is it in here? Why is it in so much discussion?
Yeah.
We're gonna go to Best Actor and Best Actress next. We'll talk about Zoe, but yeah, let's hope.
I hope it goes
Johnson-
home empty handed.
Well, let's move on to actor. Adrian Brody is predicted to win across both betting sites.
Tristan, this is a tough category for me because Adrian Brody is so good in The Brutalist,
Yeah.
and I would love to see him win. I have not seen The Pianist, the film he won for 20 plus years ago,
Yeah.
but that's the thing is like Adrian Brody already has an Oscar for playing a character I understand is pretty similar. So there's that whole narrative. So it's like Ralph Fiennes, or how do you say his last name? I'm
Ray
sorry
Fiennes?
about pronunciation. Ralph Fiennes. Like he was snubbed for Made in Manhattan, and he's just like a beloved actor who's never won. But like I don't know what he was doing in Conclave, but I guess he was doing it. So like I wouldn't hate to see him get a career win. And then Timothy Chalamet. This is hardly his best performance for me. That his performance didn't really totally move me in Complete Unknown, but like he moves me in his everyday life. So I wouldn't be sad to see him win because I
Yeah.
think he was snubbed for Call Me by Your Name. So that's my 2 cents on this. But I don't know who's going to win. Honestly, if I had to put money down, I'd put Timothy. I think people are just smitten by him.
Yeah, and he's had a good campaign. I know one of our predictions we're going to listen to, they talk about it a little bit, but he's great. I will say, having seen The Pianist and The Brutalist, the connection is they're Jews. And they both lived through World War II. The Pianist is such a different movie. It's this guy who stays in, I believe it's Poland, as the Nazis are moving through, and he's like living in
Oh
buildings
wow.
and emaciated. He doesn't go to the camps. It's a very different
Oh.
style movie where he loses a bunch of weight as this guy who's like
Oh.
surviving in the rubble of his town.
Oh
So after
wow.
after watching Brutalist, I was like, okay, he puts on a funny accent for Americans to listen to. I don't know how close it is.
Really? So he feels like a completely different character in that
He
movie.
feels like a different character to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the other thing I didn't say is Adrian Brody. I just saw a photo of him today that took my breath away. He
Hmm.
is hot.
Yeah.
And so I would have no problem looking at that man more. And God, like, did you like The Brutalist? I thought he was so good in The Brutalist.
I liked it. I think I struggled a little bit with the ending of the movie and some of the things they chose to include versus not, and like how it
Fair.
wrapped up. But I will
Yeah.
say his early scene in the streets with the prostitute, every girl I went to see the movie with was like, "Excuse me, Adrian, what?" In shape, he did his thing, and I think he's so charmingly
Hmm.
European in this movie and just the
Hmm.
way he portrays the character. It's a rough watch at moments, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be sad if he wins. I'm with you on thinking it might be Timotei. I didn't see Sing Sing. I've heard amazing things about Coleman Domingo in
Same.
that.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I was gonna see if it was nominated for Best Picture, and I just did not make it. I
Yeah.
think A24 butchered that release and Oscar campaign. Side note about Adrian Brody: can you
Yeah.
believe that he is long-term romantic partners with Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife?
I don't remember if you brought it up with me or somebody else, but looking at the pictures, I was shook. I had
I
no
know.
idea.
I hate to shame. It's unsettling for me though.
It's almost like Aaron Taylor Johnson and his wife, that's like,
That is, yes,
20
yeah,
plus years older when he was 18 or whatever. It just feels gross, but love is love.
I
Speaking
guess.
of love, I don't know who loved The Apprentice with Sebastian Stan. I don't know who that movie was for or why.
I
I'm glad he
know.
got the Golden Globe for actor.
He did, and it has some passionate fans. I have no interest in watching a movie about Donald Trump. God bless him. But just today it broke that the director of that movie allegedly got handsy and groped an A-list actor or actress at a Golden Globes party, and he has now been
Oh,
dropped by his agency. But that broke after Oscar voting finalized. But I don't think that man was going to win that award anyways. But I mean,
no,
it's
but
it's it's a treat for him to be nominated. That movie like barely got any eyeballs.
which I'll say for everyone who only knows him from Marvel stuff, you have to watch other things he did. He did this movie, I want to say it's called Monday, this weird European film. Anyways, he goes so far off the rails and everything else he does. I love
Oh
it.
yeah,
So I can't
he's
wait to see
great.
what it is next.
I did not know he was in a Marvel movie. I know him from Pam and Tommy and
Oh,
I
yeah.
Tonya. What Marvel movie is he in?
He's the Winter Soldier. He's like the friend of Captain
Oh,
America from since 2010. I don't know if I'd want to watch The Apprentice. On to actress Demi Moore.
uh, our favorite category. You think is Demi Moore favorite to win?
She's favored, but I'm going to say it's 50-50 now with Mikey Madison, and I think Mikey might win.
That's exactly how I'm feeling, Tristan. It's so funny in Oscar season. It's like if you peak too early or too long, people can kind of get tired of that storyline and they may want to throw their vote behind someone else.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I would love to see either of these women win. Frankly, I read the Demi Moore memoir this year and I'm like, I would love to see that woman win. Like, I think people just love the narrative of this woman who was defined as being a popcorn actress, someone that would make a lot of money but not win awards, as she said in her such eloquent speech in the Golden Globes. So this is kind of like her getting her flowers now.
Yeah.
But I think The Substance is a hard movie for people to watch. I think more people have watched Honora and fallen in love with Honora. And there's just no denying that Mikey Madison is phenomenal in that movie, truly.
Yeah.
Especially when you see her do interviews and she's so soft spoken. She's nothing like her character. But gosh, yeah, if I had to put money down, you know what? I think I would still go with my heart and put money down for Demi Moore. But I truly think it's 50-50. I'd love to see either of them win.
Now, I forget, did you like Better Things?
Yes, I loved Better Things.
Okay.
Cancel me now. Unfortunately, I love the early seasons of Better Things, but after Louis C.K.'s scandal imploded, he dropped off from writing for Better Things. And to be honest, the show felt like it changed a bit. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't stay with it, but Better Things, I think, is one of the best TV shows of the last 10 years.
I think I watched some
Yeah.
episodes with you. All right, Mikey Madison, Demi Moore, 50-50. Good
Who are
on
you putting
Cynthia.
your money on? Mikey?
I still think Demi,
Yeah.
but I'm like 51-49.
By the way, it's Demi.
Demi.
She,
Do you
I listened
Demi?
to the
Okay.
audiobook.
Demi. The fact that Carla Sofia Gascon is still in the running is funny. It'll be
It
interesting to see her
is
at the
funny.
show.
One of my favorite tweets is that like Carla should host the Oscars. She's a lot to say. No, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Some people are like, the upset could be Ferranda Torres. I'm like, in what world? I don't get it. I mean, I hear that movie's phenomenal, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't see that.
Hashtag not our Oscars.
Yeah.
Let's move on to supporting actor. Supporting actor.
Ooh. Okay, this is the category that I pray for the biggest upset. I truly like do not think it would happen, but I would love to see it happen because it's one of my favorite
Uh-huh.
performances of the year. I would love to see Yura win for Honora. No
Yeah.
Russian actor has been nominated for an Oscar since the 70s. I don't really care about that fact, but he is so good in this movie. Like, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I also am a fan of a subtle performance. And
Mhm.
whoo, is it that? And whoo, am I looking for my Igor as who he plays in Honora?
Yeah, I mean, he's hot, he's
He
subtle,
is hot.
but he also understands, I feel like, better than so many actors. He understands the feeling of a scene and showing it on his whole
Mm.
body. And some of those moments between like wrestling and breaking into glass or just sitting there quietly or consoling, he did such a great job. I'm with you. I hope he is the upset. Edward Norton has done better movies, right? And better roles.
Yes, I thought he did what he needed to in this movie, and I actually thought he was so good in A Complete Unknown. So I'm happy to see him nominated.
Yeah. Guy Pearce, hateable, good, I guess. I don't know. I don't
He was
know
good in
if.
that movie. It also, I felt like all the bad people in that, Guy Pearce and Joe Allen, felt a little like one note and kind
Mhm.
of extreme to the point where they almost felt like a caricature.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good in it.
And Jeremy Strong can go back to bathing himself in coffee. I don't care.
Thank you. I don't care to see Jeremy Strong's name anywhere, but I think it's hilarious that he's in the same category as his former brother from Succession, Kieran Culkin. They famously can butt heads, I think, like siblings, and they both could not approach acting any differently.
Uh-huh.
But of course, Kieran Culkin is the favorite to win for A Real Pain.
Did you
I
like it?
Oh wow, the tone, your tone
What's
just
that?
caught me. I loved A Real Pain. I went with some friends after dinner and we snuck cocktails in and I ate that movie up and I thought he was so good in it. But as you know, I'm a pretty political person and one thing I really throw my political weight around for is category fraud, where someone thinks they have a better
Mm.
chance of winning in a supporting category, but their performance is really a lead, or vice versa. And like, wow, do I for sure as hell think that's what's going on here? That man is a
Yeah.
co-lead, and I think he will win, and he's so good in it. But like, I'm sorry, that was not a supporting performance to me.
Yeah, especially watching the movie, which I really loved it.
You did. Well, what was that tone about then when you asked me that question?
So many people I've talked to about it don't like it.
It's
It's
true.
either it's
Not to bring him up
boring.
again, Ben Jones did not like it.
Ben Jones, if you're listening, a lot of people said it was too talky, it was too slow, it was XYZ boring, and I don't think so. It's this kind of movie that I wish we had more of, but I
I
understand
completely
they're
agree.
more made for streaming these days or whatever.
Those people could never survive a radio play listening to one. Like Godspeed. But do you think Kieran's going to win this?
I think he's going to. I would love the upset too, but I think he's going to.
I
It's
know.
almost like Hollywood's all patting him on the back of like, you put in your time in Succession, you did it again in this movie, the same
Yeah.
character. Here you
Hmm.
go. Okay.
And I think it's always spreading around the awards for movies. Like A Real Pain, it's really this or screenplay. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kieran, take it home. Supporting actress. Zoe
Mm.
is way above everybody else as far as the betting odds go, but do you think Ariana or someone else upsets her?
It's a good question. Yeah, it's annoying because she's won every award and another huge category fraud. I hear it's laughable because she's essentially the lead in the movie and is
Yeah.
nominated and supporting. Here's the thing is because that scandal has imploded around Amelia Perez, the big conversation around this is can Zoe Saldana still win? Or will people be like, I ain't voting for that because that person's in this movie? To your point, the betting odds are still that she will win. I'm hoping and praying for an upset because I don't want that movie to win anything. So I could see Ariana Grande winning for Wicked. But you know what? This is another upset I would love. I'd love to see Monica win for A Complete Unknown. I thought she was so good in that. But you know what? If I'm a betting man, I'm gonna bet Ariana Grande. I think, even though I think Zoe Saldana's gonna win, I'm gonna go with my heart and bet Ariana.
Funny how sometimes some of the weirdest things can turn us off. Zoe's speech at the Golden Globes was a turnoff. It
It was
was
a
kind
turnoff
of
for me
like,
too.
what was that all about? I don't know. You're a professional actress. You've worked in huge movies. It's
Yeah.
not like it's your third movie and oh my God, I can't believe I'm being nominated. It's like you've been an Avatar, you know? Okay, move on. I
Yeah,
don't know.
she had to follow Demi Moore, which I think was hard. But I think her point was that like she hasn't received an award for a movie, and it just
Hmm.
didn't ring or hit as true or hit as hard as Demi because like Demi's been through so much. She's kind of like was like chewed up and spit out by Hollywood, and I'm like to your point, I'm like Zoe, that hasn't happened to you. You've been like in our face forever and very recently. So
Some of
yeah,
the biggest office grossers between Marvel and Star Trek and Avatar. I'm like, I
yeah.
know.
Those are golden handcuffs that you chose to put yourself in. So I'm sorry you didn't have time to like get in these award buzzy movies, and now you're gonna win for category fraud. Like, you hate to see it, but even though she seems like a nice person.
Hate to see it. Animated feature. Did you watch all of them or some of them this year?
Well, I now live very close to 10-ish of my nieces and nephews.
Oh yeah.
And so I have seen a few of these with children. I saw Inside Out 2 and I saw The Wild Robot.
Hmm.
I cried in Inside Out 2 and I cried in The Wild Robot. And I saw The Wild Robot twice in theaters. I loved it. I hope it wins. Animated feature is always weird. Like for whatever reason, I don't think Inside Out 2 will win, even though it like the prize was the money. I
Yeah.
think it's down to The Wild Robot and Flow. Have not seen Flow, but I'd see it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Cole is a big fan of it. I know he's sent in his predictions. He thinks that's going to win. Wild Robot, I started. I honestly haven't finished. I just wasn't in the mood for it. The animation was beautiful. The art was
Beautiful.
beautiful. The
Yeah.
voices were great. I
Yeah.
think just at least for me, I was in a different mood in the last couple months.
Sure. You need kids in your life. Go see it with some
You
kids.
know, Inside Out's like fourth on the betting odds for both places.
Which
So
is
it's
so funny because
interesting.
it was I think the biggest highest grossing movie of last year, but yeah.
Yeah, it was the whole Disney Pixar's back.
Yeah.
Any of them could be good, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. And it's always like when when these people win these awards, it's like we don't know who you are, so get off the stage.
Art boys.
Yeah.
Let's go to international feature real quick. Amelia
Ooh.
Perez is still has the odds to win both.
That'd be so funny this one, but I guess like it could. I hope I'm Still Here wins this.
Yeah.
And that's my guess is that it will win this, but
I
interesting
guess
to
to
see.
clarify, some sites have it I'm still here first, or they have them tied.
Oh,
Others have
really?
Amelia Perez in first place.
It's interesting that Flow is nominated for Best Animated Feature and International Feature. Remember when we
What?
saw that so depressing movie about the two boys? There was an international feature like Close or Closer. Oh, was
Yeah, that
not
was
prepared for that.
so
Yeah,
sad.
so sad.
I've heard from some people the Seed of a Sacred Fig is amazing and that should win,
Oh, I
but
have
I
heard
don't
that.
hear it among critics, websites, whatever else.
Yeah, yeah.
If Amelia Perez wins this, is it a failure of the Oscars?
It's a failure of culture, and I blame Netflix. But that movie, I'm so ready for it to be done. It's so funny. Do you think she'll come to the Oscars? The
I th-
actress who has been canceled.
I think she's going to, yeah. I don't think Netflix wants her there,
Right, like
but
she'll
I
play
just
her own
don't
way.
see. Yeah, I don't think they show like each actress nominated and they don't show her. You know what I mean? Like, I think she's going to be at a table in the back when they're showing all the nominees.
I love someone going rogue. At least lately, she has said, like, I'm going to take a step back as to not detract from the film. But I think she, based on her tweets, can't resist the spotlight. So we'll see. I could see her, like, rushing the stage like Kanye West.
Before we get to predictions for everybody else, any other
Yeah.
categories you specifically have a hot take on or you want to talk about? Screenplay, shorts, documentary.
Unfortunately, I didn't see, like, a single documentary this year. I need to do that. Gosh. Screenplay, I hope A Real Pain wins. I don't know who will win that one.
Yeah.
Adapted screenplay, I could see Conclave winning, so it's like maybe that's the award it picks up, like the lone award. That's my guess on that. And if I had to make a prediction on screenplay, I would guess The Brutalist or A Real Pain. I don't think people think of Honora as like an amazingly well written movie, even though I'm sure it is. But
It has the betting odds to win right
Honora
now
does?
for
Oh wow.
original, yeah. Which makes me wonder, like, if all those Guild Awards proved what they thought of it. But
Oh right, because it won WGA.
and then
Interesting.
for
Yeah.
September 5th is nominated because I don't think that's nominated in most other big categories.
No, it's the lone nomination, I think, for September 5th, a movie I watched just a week ago. And honestly, I found it underwhelming. It's a fine movie, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked to see it nominated. I wouldn't have nominated it there. Like, to your point at the beginning of the podcast, challengers should be there. And that is a stain on the Oscars and will be forever and ever.
Yeah. VFX, I could see Dune maybe picking up 1 or 2 wins. I love the Planet of the Apes is in there somehow, and Better Man, the movie that no one saw.
Oh my gosh, that's all so funny. I still need to see Better Man. Twitter has
Yeah.
convinced me it's good, but that's hilarious. The one I would like to talk about is Best Original Song. Emilia
Okay.
Perez is front runner for that, and I believe it has two nominations. Yeah,
Yeah.
two nominations. I don't want to see it win, and I would love to see Elton John or Brandy Carlisle pick up for it. Or I could see people being like, Emilia Perez, no, we're shutting that down, and just voting for Diane Warren, even though this movie for Netflix has not been well seen. Diane Warren, I think, has the most losses in Oscar history, and
Oh
she's
my
wrote some like the
gosh.
best songs for Oscar movies, like that Aerosmith song in Armageddon.
Oh,
I don't want to close my eyes, blah blah
yeah.
blah. Yeah, yeah, and she's always nominated, and she's such an eccentric personality. Like, there's an amazing clip of Billie Eilish winning and Diane Warren like flipping her hands up, like, "Oh, what am I gonna do?" And Diane Warren's one of her houses just burned down, so she has won an honorary Oscar.
Oh
But like, I
yeah.
would love to see her win in a category for something no one has seen, and especially as like an FU to Amelia Perez.
Oh yeah, the 6888 is the movie. The song's The Journey, performed by her. Oh wow.
Oh, her, which I heard, I think Hunter Harris say on Twitter, her is an industry plant created just to perform at award shows. So like, I would just love to see this win.
Oh my gosh. Good predictions. We have some hot takes in there. Should we go to everyone else's predictions?
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what the gang said.
So I will introduce each person. We'll go through their predictions, pause, talk about them for a minute,
Okay,
then go to their
I'll do
hot
a quick
takes.
reaction.
Wonderful. Let's kick it off with a old friend of the pod and magazine, Cole Wissinger.
Hi, I'm Cole Wissinger, longtime writer and contributor, but first time calling in to the Indie Mag and Pod. And I've got some Oscar predictions for you. My first prediction for Best Picture, I mean, is it a prediction or is it just wish casting? I'm going to fish what I wish. I want The Substance to win, not because it's a great movie, but because Mubi deserves to win an Oscar. And also, it's a great movie. And then for another category, let's go Flow for Best Animated Feature. People are acting like The Wild Robot was the second coming of the great kids crossover to great animation. It was okay. And the animation was good, and I like that we're doing slightly different things with animation, but Flow was one of those animated movies that when you're checking your boxes, watching all the Oscar movies, that one was special to me anyway. And so I would like to see Flow get the Best Animated Picture.
Let's discuss.
Okay, well, I didn't appreciate the wild robot slander, but I love a man who like aspirationally votes wish fulfillment. I think it's hilarious that he's voting for a distributor to win, and that was his rationale. I loved that. I love an honest man. I don't think that's going to happen, but I could see Flo taking it. Sometimes these animated movies just sneak out of nowhere, and I think Wild Robot, to his point, was the front runner for so long, and maybe it's Flo's moment, but I don't think so.
Go with the flow. Yeah, you're right. It could be almost like Demi Moore
You
thing
got it right, Demi.
of everyone's a little bit tired of Wild Robot, but also, I don't know.
You know what? He has kids. I'll trust him.
Yeah, Substance, I mean,
Did you see it?
I did. Yeah, I did. I liked it. It was very gross. It
Yeah.
was, I don't know if I'm going to rewatch it, but like the story it was telling through it is so good. To your point, don't know if it should win just because of movie, but I also love a middle finger to Netflix or other studios to say, like,
Yeah.
be a little more bold sometimes. Stop being so safe. Universal Pictures fumbled the bag, so.
I think here's the thing though, is I think the Earth would like tilt on its axis from Whiplash going from like Coda winning a few years ago, such a
Oh my
tame ass
gosh.
movie, to The Substance. But how fun. The
And
Rain.
Green Book before that.
Yeah.
Let's listen to his hot take.
And then a hot take, how about Dune just getting completely blanked? I know it's the big sci-fi movie, and so it should be a favorite in sound, at least, if not production design and a couple of those other things. I think Wicked is going to clean up some of those below-the-line things, and Dune is the second of an obvious trilogy, so it's got that going against it, and it's going up against two musicals in sound even, so the one category that it should have locked up, it's not a guarantee, and it was good. And I think it's going to make a lot of people mad. But I think there's the possibility out there that Dune 2 just doesn't take home a thing on Oscar day. And those are my predictions.
I think Cole could not be more right, and I would love to see that happen as well. Dune 2 just completely shut out, because then hopefully they stop production on the third one and just free up all that talent to go do other things that make a movie about spice in the desert.
Spice Boys. Dune 2 is previous year's Marvel Endgame, right? It's for the boys. I know there are women who love Dune 2 as well. It's a great movie. I really enjoyed it. There will
I
be
hear
a
it's
third
good.
one. It's good. There's no Oppenheimer, so they have to root for something that's their version of an underdog. Let's go to my friend Eleanor, who has also been on the podcast before. Let's listen to her predictions.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Huntington, second time caller, and I predict for Best Picture the winner will be The Brutalist, even though I know right now the hot take is that it'll be Anora, but I didn't like Anora, so I'm going for The Brutalist.
Okay. And a Nora hater.
Yeah, a misinformed take. God bless. But honestly, I think Eleanor, who I love, is on to something. I think The Brutalist is completely still in play. It's a movie lover's movie. It's a classic movie, and it's really good. So I think she's right that it's majorly still in play here.
Yeah, I think when the AI discussion hit the press,
Mm,
it was a worry like, oh no, it's going to
yeah.
completely ruin it. But it seemed to go away as quickly as it came in there, right?
It's still, I think, an effective burn to throw at a movie because people are so scared and hung up about AI in the industry. And you know what? Here's the thing, though, is like the major thing that the Brutalist has against it is a lot of people probably are not sitting through that movie.
Yeah.
It's 3.5 hours long, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it's not her hot take, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like most of middle America has not seen it and refuses to. I understand that to a point, like having an intermission was wild. I split it up and saw it 2 different days with the intermission. I'm so
Oh,
bad.
that's right.
Let's listen to her hot take.
My hot takes are mostly that I am devastated that Challengers was not nominated at all, and I think that's an affront to filmmaking. And also, that Kneecap really should have been considered for Best International Film, and that is another egregious error on the part of the Academy.
Another valid take from Eleanor. I have not seen Kneecap. I really need to. I believe it's on Netflix. I want to see it. I hear it's phenomenal, and that's sad it wasn't nominated.
Yeah, Kneecap is on Netflix.
Did you see it?
I know, I need to see it. She's the one that's been talking it up to me. I'm like, okay, on my
Yeah.
list, on my list.
Shout out to my New York friends. They've seen it. Maybe I'll watch it this weekend.
Just in time. As far as challenges, do you think the studio released it early because they didn't think it was Oscar worthy? Or was it just, there's nothing out, let's make some box office? What do you think their thought was?
Well, it's interesting, Tristan. It was supposed to come out September of last year, but it didn't because of the SAG strike. So Zendaya couldn't promote it. So I think they had like awards eyes on it. And with timing and scheduling, I think it just got shifted. And I also don't think people took it seriously enough. And I don't know if like older audiences really gravitated towards it. But a movie that was released around the same time that I think is absolutely robbed here is Civil War.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved that movie.
That's another in my top 5 for the year that I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
didn't really get much love after everyone that wanted to see it
Yeah.
saw it in a month. And then it went quiet. You don't hear people being like, I'm going to rewatch Civil War this weekend.
Gosh, I might rewatch it this weekend now that you say that. And I think Kirsten Dunst should be here for Best Actress, and it should be nominated for Best Picture. And hell, throw out a Best Director nomination. Get Mr. Emilia Perez out of there. Go back to France, Mr. Emilia Perez.
There should be like a replacement Oscars weekend. If someone's fucked up already and you're 1 month
Yes.
out, replace it. Be like, campaign or not, put us in.
I agree. I also want to say I love France.
Let's move on to my friend Robert Floyd, who I work with.
Okay.
I always get hot takes from Robert. We love talking movies at lunch and things like that. So let's give that a listen.
Hello, hi, howdy. I'm Robert Floyd, first time caller, and here are my predictions for this year's Oscars. I think Anora will win Best Picture. I think Timothée Chalamet will win Best Actor. Primarily because, I just saw a video of him and Kendrick Lamar in a car rapping The Heart Part 2 together. Now, if you know anything about Kendrick and his discography, you would know that The Heart Part 2 is a very deep cut. And this man, Timmy, knew it word for word, bar for bar. So honestly, the Academy should give him the Oscar off the strength of that alone.
I think Robert is so right. The press run of Timothy, like we've never seen someone just like go for it and have as much fun as he's having with this. And I forgot that he did like what seemed like a whole afternoon of press with Kendrick Lamar. I think he's right on both his predictions, and I think that would be a really just fun night to see Honora and Timothy win.
Yeah, Timothy, did you see him on College Game Day?
Yes, yes, he's so good.
He did just an amazing job. And I'd love to see the steak eating straights be like, oh, maybe this guy's not just a prissy little actor boy. Anyways,
Yeah.
he's so lovable already. I was a late bloomer when it came to Timothy, and the season's really helped him gain some more favor.
Mm-hmm.
Let's listen to his hot take.
And finally, my hottest take is Honora is not the best picture of the year. I know what I said. I know I just said that I think Honora will win Best Picture, and I hope it does, because it deserves it. Shout out Sean Baker, he's the man. But it is not the Best Picture of the year, because Sing Sing is the Best Picture of the year. And it is a crime that A24 didn't release that movie in every single theater across this country. And look, bro, I get it. It's the Academy Awards. Only one quote-unquote black film gets in a year, and that spot with the Nickel Boys is here. Shout out Nickel Boys. Another great film. Great film. But I just think when you have a film that is clearly as special as Sing Sing, and it is special, anyone with two eyes who's seen it will tell you that it's special, it deserves to be recognized on the biggest stage possible. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now, let me stop before I start screaming, because it infuriates me. That is all. Thank you.
I love a riled up man, and I think Robert is so right. I have not seen Sing Sing, but I think he's right in that A24 totally butchered that release. Like, yes, they should have had a wider theatrical release, but also, I'm sorry, that movie had been out forever. It would have been the easiest thing in the world to put it up on HBO Max, and they didn't. Like, people would have seen and streamed that movie around the holidays, and it was not up on a free streamer. Like, shame on them.
Yeah, I was going to say, my writer up in Utah for our magazine reviewed
Yes.
this August 13th, and it had already been out for a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
And loved it. This was one of his favorite movies of the year, and I was like, it's not in my theaters here. I didn't see it, and then it's nowhere to stream. Like you said, and Robert said, bad on
It's
A24
awful.
for letting it slip.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to one more of my friends from work. Cyrus. Cyrus, like Robert, always has a hot take. He was one of the first people that I knew to see Honora and just loved it. Same with Brutalist. I thank him for always talking about good movies at work. And let's hear his predictions.
Hey everyone, my name is Cyrus, and these are my Oscar predictions. I think The Brutalist will win Best Picture, but personally, I would want Dune Part 2 or Honora to win. I think I'm leaning towards Honora right now just due to recency bias.
First things first. Amazing audio quality, and he's got a voice for radio, right?
Oh, he has a great voice. I was turned on.
Dune Part 2, Honora, Brutalist.
Yeah, honestly, even when he was saying that he thinks The Brutalist will win, I was just like, honestly, I think it's a good movie, but I just think that would be boring. Like, the Oscars have been there. I feel like the Oscars have been to The Brutalist in Best Picture before. The Oscars have not been to Honora in Best Picture before. Or maybe they have, it's just been a while. Like, let's be honest, at the heart of it, it's a screwball romantic comedy. Like, I'm fucking here for it.
If I remember right, I think Cyrus is a big Sean Baker fan as well. And we had a discussion the other day. Do you think people that have seen his other films like Honora the most, or do you think it's a worse pick on his filmography?
I think it may be one of the more accessible and commercial films of his filmography, but I personally loved Red Rocket the most. And I know that's a really polarizing movie. But also what's crazy is like, Honora should have made more money. It's like made $35 million at the box office. Like, that movie should be more widely released right now, and it should also be like on streamers. I don't know. Curious. Maybe after it wins Best Picture, God willing, it'll like have a wider release. But I love that movie.
Really pop off. Yeah, the number of people who were worried about seeing it, like, it's about a prostitute. That's part of the movie, but it's not the whole thing. And it really takes a lot to get people over that hump of what's about an adult entertainer. Anyway.
I know, my mom can't get over it. I mean, and truth be told, she's an exotic dancer, but she's also a sex worker. But hello, so is Pretty Woman. Like, sheesh.
That's true. That's true. This year's Julia Roberts. Let's listen to his hot take.
My hot take is that Denis Villeneuve should have been nominated for Best Director, doesn't really make sense to me that he doesn't get the recognition as Best Director, but his movie is in recognition for Best Picture. And Robert Eggers should have been nominated for Best Director as well for Nosferatu, and Nosferatu should have also been nominated for Best Picture, even though I know that space and that category is already very crowded. I just think cinematography is a great nomination for Nosferatu, but it deserves a little bit more recognition.
Honestly, I'm sure he's right on both accounts. Director is just a crowded space, but Mr. Emilia Perez should be sent out.
See, that would have been one of those nice late swaps. And Nosferatu, I know we're not horror fans, the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to watch it. One of my friends that has another hot take on here has told me he bought the extended version, but it doesn't get me to the theaters, so I can understand if a lot of other people in the voting body are not horror fans and it just doesn't get voted in.
Yeah, here it's great, but agreed.
All right, let's move on to my sister and her predictions.
Hi, I'm Alexa, and my predictions for the 2025 Academy Awards are The Brutalist is going to win for Best Picture, Demi Moore is going to win for Best Actress in a Leading Role for The Substance.
Wow, damn! Alexa sounds like she'd be reading the envelope at the Oscars. She has a great voice and presence. I think that Alexa is totally right that there is a very strong possibility that the night may go that way. But sheesh, don't put that evil of The Brutalist winning on me. I know I've in the middle of this podcast turned on The Brutalist. It's a great movie. I don't want it to win Best Picture, but could go that way.
Let's listen to her hot take.
My hot take is that the Oscars need to do away with all of the cringy skits. They're way too long, the humor doesn't usually hit, and most importantly, it takes away time from the winners giving speeches, which is what the Academy Awards are all about.
I mean, she's right and she's wrong. The Oscars are so long, and most of those skits do not hit, but also it's so boring to watch non-celebrities give speeches. So
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think they can have instead of some of the skits? Is there a good replacement? Is it bits from the movie? Is it?
I honestly say keep the skits and do not give speaking time to anyone in categories outside the big five.
I remember when they were saying they weren't going to televise, what was it, some sound department or VFX or whatever, and there was such an uproar, but at the same time, I get it now. The general public does not need to see all of them. I understand that it's important, every single person's role, but if it really is an industry for industry award, maybe don't give the people who are not regularly public speaking.
I agree. You'll barely find me at my family member's graduation. Why would I want to see a stranger, non-famous person give a speech?
Did you ever watch the MTV Movie Awards?
We didn't get that channel growing up, but I've seen enough.
Did you see the Justin Timberlake Matrix thing in 2003?
No. I need to Google that now.
You need to go back and rewatch. Growing up, I had thought that was part of the Oscars because it was just another award show. And I'm like, yeah, Justin Timberlake cosplays parts of the Matrix. That's really fun. Anyways, I do wish there was some almost SNL-like productions for something here or there. Make it fun or funny.
Fucking %. They used to do the Oscars too. Like Billy Crystal, I remember one year he had a thing where he like you're saying, he'd pop up in all these movies like it was an SNL short. And I wish they would do that more.
Who's hosting again this year? I've forgotten.
Conan O'Brien. I saw his commercial for it today, and usually the commercials are not good, and this was no exception. But also, in some ways, I'm just happy to see someone other than Jimmy Kimmel hosting. He's fine, but he's done it enough, and because he has his own late night show on ABC, it just feels like another night with Jimmy Kimmel. I want the Oscars to feel special. Sorry, one of my favorite Oscars hosts were Ellen DeGeneres. Lock me up.
Was Tina Fey, Amy Poehler? That was Oscars, right? That
was Golden Globes, but they definitely presented at the Oscars too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to my friend Bobby and his predictions.
Bobby.
Tristan, this is the funnest Oscar season I've experienced in some time. I have many predictions. They're changing every day, but I think Eleanor will win Best Picture. I think Zoe Saldana will win Best Supporting Actress. She's a lock.
Okay, last night at dinner, he was like, Honora's going to win. I know it's going to win.
Yay. I hope he's a fortune teller. He has many predictions that are changing day by day. He sounds like Steve from MSNBC on election night, just crunching the numbers. What's his hot take?
And hot take, I think I'm Still Here will win Best International Film. I think Emilia Perez, especially during the height of voting time, does not bode well for the controversies it faced. Oh, may the best film win.
Bobby and I are aligned.
I just want to call out his audio quality makes him sound like he's on an old radio, and it kind of is fun, you know, like an old radio.
It was so soothing. I was like, damn, I could listen to this man like read a Christmas story.
Yeah, his episode that came out early on for us, late 2023, is fantastic. It's just so smooth the whole way through.
Ooh, what's that one on?
Some of his favorite movies. He talks about Christmas movies or winter movies, but he is a wealth of knowledge. Let's move on to one of my friends, Rheanna. She works in the industry, and she's got some predictions as well.
Hi, I'm Rheanna, first-time caller, and my predictions for the Oscars this year are Eleanor for Best Picture. Now that Emilia Perez is kind of, in all that drama, it seems like Eleanor is kind of taking the lead in that, which is really great. And then I'd also love to see Demi Moore win Best Actress. I just think that's a given and is going to happen, and I'm really excited for her.
We're all on the same page.
We're all on the same page. Although, as to our conversation earlier, I don't know if it's a given that Demi will win, especially because Mikey just won the BAFTAs. We'll see. I think she's generally right.
And then my hot take is that I do not want Adrian Brody to win Best Actor because I feel like we've already seen him play this type of character and role before, and he won an Oscar for that character and role in The Pianist. So let's, switch it up. I'd love to see Coleman Domingo win. I know that would be a pretty, a big upset, but I really love him and would love to see him win an Oscar. And that is my predictions and hot take for the Oscars this year.
Coleman winning would be a big upset. It's the best when there's upsets on Oscars nights. There's so many Oscars where it's just like the same people who have been winning all season continue to win. I think we're going to be in for a fun Oscars, hopefully.
It would make Robert happy, and if Sing Sing won that, then that would be a nice mark on a good movie.
Yes, yeah, true.
All right, let's go to the final one. This is my friend Paul. He lives in London, member of the BFI, and loves movies.
Really?
Gets to see them early, so let's listen to what he has to say.
It's Paul. I'm a first-time caller. My predictions for the Best Picture is for Eleanor to win, and for Best Director, Sean Baker. And why don't we just throw in Mikey Madison to win as well and make it an Eleanor clean sweep, which I think is deserved.
I love this man, and I also agree that I would love to see Eleanor get a clean sweep for those three. Oh, how fun. Let's do it.
My hot take is where the hell are Challengers and Kneecap in these nominations? They should both have multiple nominations from the sound and songs, and then also Best International for Kneecap, and maybe even some of the acting nominations for Challengers, which I think those three were just really great. That's it. Thanks. Bye.
Paul is so right. Those boys should totally be nominated for acting. Sure, Zendaya too, and it should definitely be nominated for score. And thank you for the reminder, Paul, to watch Kneecap because I've already forgotten about it.
Kneecap, rewatch Challengers. Let's wrap it up there. Any last thoughts before we watch the Oscars on March 2nd?
Well, I don't know why do I feel anxious. Like I just had the butterflies. I'm like, I'm not nominated. I'm excited for it, but also that kind of like, I just did is I love the Oscars, and yet every year I'm like, this has gone on too long. And by the time the big awards are being handed out, I kind of have like brain fatigue or fog from like watching TV for too long. So I got to get a different strategy. I don't know what that will be.
I think I might take a pre-Oscars nap this year because no matter what, I feel like I'm always getting tired and sleepy by the time we hit VFX.
I love that idea more.
What is your Oscars meal going to be this year?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's still to be determined. I will be coming from a bachelor party that day. So I want to say I'll be cooking, but I don't know. We could be doing takeout. Maybe we'll get our favorite Thai, or maybe we'll get Cheesecake Factory. It's never failed us before, although it doesn't travel well.
We've had many good Oscars. I'm sad we won't be able to celebrate and watch this year together.
Same.
But let's enjoy the 97th Academy Awards ceremony. I know you can watch it on Hulu, on Hulu Live TV, YouTube TV, AT&T TV, Fubo TV, and with ABC.
It's going to be streaming on Disney Plus this year.
and on Disney Plus. Disney Plus just keeps getting better and better. And a big thanks to everyone who called in today with Cole, Eleanor, Robert, Cyrus, Alexa, Bobby, Rheanna, and Paul. And for everyone who listened, make sure to watch more of these movies and enjoy the Oscars on Sunday.
Love you, Alexa. Hi, Mom. Happy Oscar season.